welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show. We are live. It's the end of the transfer window. The Premier League is full, kicking and underway. 3 games in, we get to discuss who's had the best transfer window, who's had the worst, and who has surprised you the most. I've got a very, very happy Man United fan with me. It's Garth Lewis. How you doing, Garth?
We're starting like that, are we? Wipe that cheeky grin off your face. We're starting like that.
I'm not happy. If we want to go into the weekend's what went down this weekend, mate, I could talk about Declan Rice for an hour. if you want to go there.
No,
so we're equally as unhappy.
Oh, I don't think we are, bro. But we'll get into that. There's no way we're equally unhappy, Bridget. We'll get into that in a bit, bro.
All right, we want everyone joining us. Get into the comment section. We want to know what you think about your team's transfer windows, whether it's Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Palace, Leicester, Ipswich. Are you happy? Are you not? Get in the comment section and tell us why. So, yes, the transfer window ended this weekend. There was some last-minute deals, some surprising shock deals, and we're going to be going through every team and talking about who had the best and worst at the end of it as well. We're also going to be discussing, we can't get past this one, Garth. We have to discuss Erik ten Hag's future. We have to. And of course, we're going to be talking about the Saudi Pro League. Some players like Ivan Toney went and he's been accused of being a sellout. Victor Osimhen turned down a deal, and Saudi Pro Club came in today with a bid for Leandro Trossard, which got rejected by Arsenal. So first and foremost, let's pull up all the transfers so far. First of all, Arsenal had some last-minute dealings, joined by Raheem Sterling on the final day, and it was a happy Raheem Sterling. You've seen pictures of Raheem Sterling afterwards with Edu. Apparently, Mikel Arteta had conversations with Sterling a few days before the transfer window closed, and then Raheem Sterling, once he did sign, saying that the best is yet to come and that he was at home as well. Let's go through Arsenal's transfer dealings. Arsenal managed to bring in Ricardo Calafiori, Mikel Moreno of Real Sociedad. They signed up David Raya on a permanent deal, and as I said, they got Raheem Sterling, and they also signed Neto on a loan deal from Bournemouth as well. Outgoings were Emil Smith-Rowe, Aaron Ramsdale, El Neni on a free transfer, and Eddie Nketiah to Crystal Palace. Garth, what's your thoughts on Arsenal's transfer window and Arsenal transfer dealings this summer?
I mean, obviously, you'll know it's better than me. I think you desperately needed a striker, so because of that, it's 1 mark off. But apart from that, I mean, obviously, you'd already committed 27 mil to David Raya, so that's straight out your budget straight away. Mm-hmm. And people are not taking into account how strict the clubs have got to be this summer and the next few summers. Calafiori looks like a good player. Again, we will soon find out, but I think that's a solid, you need squad depth. Is he going to be a week in, week out starter? Depends, obviously, if he gets his form up. But he's got a lot of competition to get into that spot, especially if he wants to play centre-back. But that's only a good thing. Moreno, again, it is more of a depth player than a first-team guaranteed player, but he's a solid player as well. So, yeah, we'll get into Sterling instead. If it was just that, even just that, I don't think Arsenal fans could be too upset. Again, the lack of striker is worrying. Mm-hmm. But then you add the loan to Raheem Sterling on the end of it. I think it's a decent window for you boys. I really do. I mean, Sterling, I've seen a lot of vitriol about how he's not good enough, how he's dead food, he's a washed player. He just isn't. He definitely is going to be pushing Martinelli for his spot. 100% going to be pushing him for his spot, especially after Martinelli didn't have the greatest of seasons last year. So listen, I don't think, apart from the striker, I don't think Arsenal fans can be too upset. And there aren't options out there.
Yeah, I think in terms of the striker, Arsenal have massively changed their transfer policy. It used to be they go for a player, and if they can't get that player, it's kind of nothing happens, and then they scramble around for someone last minute. That's changed. It seems like a lot more focused, a lot more direct, and if they can't get their player, they're happy to wait. It seems there is talk of Alexander Isak next season. I know that they were very much interested in Victor Gyökeres of Sporting Lisbon, and Benjamin Sesko. But Benjamin Sesko signed a new long-term deal with RB Leipzig, and Victor Gyökeres, Sporting Lisbon were not willing to budge on that minimum release clause of about, it would have worked out about 90 million euros. And it's
too much for him.
That Arsenal didn't go for Gyökeres only a season after he joined from playing in the Championship, and I think it was around about 20 to 30 million they paid for him. So
same as Isak, it's too much. I didn't see more, especially if you're going to be paying 100 mil, basically 90, 100 mil for these players. Don't fall into the Man United trap and do it first season. Like, it will still be that price next year if he has the same good season, pretty much around that price.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree. And also, look, I can understand Arsenal fans being slightly frustrated that we haven't bought in a striker because it was something that we needed last year. But we're going to Raheem Sterling. He's a player with bags of experience. He can play across the front three. It's very important that Saka gets a rest, and it's very important that Arteta brings in players he can trust. We didn't have that when we talk about players that he wants to play from the start of games, and the likes of Reece Nelson, who is a good player, but he's not a player that Mikel Arteta was happy to bring in over Bukayo Saka. And Bukayo Saka needed that rest. Also, when you look at the likes of Martinelli, Sterling feels like a player who could help Martinelli out in his progression. Look, Martinelli's stagnated, and if anyone's been frustrated or had dips in form, it's Raheem Sterling. And when he's been at all the big clubs and he's had fans on his back even from a young age, so he will know. He would have been in those situations, so he could lend a helping hand when it comes to that experience head in the squad as well. I'm happy with Arsenal's transfer dealings.
Yeah,
I think Ricardo Calafiori is a player during the Euros which I thought looks really good. So when we were linked with him, I was kind of shocked and kind of excited straight away. And I've seen already when he comes on as a sub, he's a monster. I was speaking on TikTok Live last night, and someone said they were at Emirates, and they said that Calafiori is a beast. He's massive. He's bigger than built bigger than Declan Rice. Quick, strong, and very direct. You saw only in the game the other day when we were down to 10 men, Calafiori making bursting runs to try and get into the area and was very close to getting through on goal, if not for an interception. I'm happy. We're slightly unlucky with Mikel Moreno going down for 2 months with a broken shoulder after his first day in training.
Was it a broken shoulder?
That's very unfortunate.
Who clamped him? Who clamped him in training?
Gabriel. Welcome. Of all players, it's going to be Gabriel, isn't it? It was Gabriel. And Neto, another player with a vast amount of experience.
Good goalkeeper as well. Good goalkeeper. Good keeper.
Playing Bournemouth only for the last 2 seasons, been at Barcelona. I think he was at Inter Milan. Vast amounts of experience there. So I'm happy. And if you look at David Raya's performances so far in the Premier League, he's got a different air of confidence. I think last year it seemed like in his head there was an element of, am I the number one? Would I get displaced by Aaron Ramsdale? And it's understandable. England international, 2 seasons where he was excellent at Arsenal, valued at the most valuable goalkeeper in the world, valued at 60 million by the end of the season before. And then this season, he's just got a different swag about him. His kicking seems sharper. He's made like 3 or 4 outstanding saves to keep Arsenal in games so far this season. And he seems very, very confident. Now, on Raheem Sterling, Garth, what's your overall thoughts on that signing? I know we spoke in private about Man United being linked with Raheem Sterling. A lot of Man United fans not happy about that, but you was actually one of who was happy about it.
Yeah, man, he's a quality player. Like, people are acting like he's. I said to you, I said when we were talking privately, people are acting like he's a dead player for the last 2 seasons. 31 goal contributions in 2 seasons. That's not bad stats for a winger playing in that Chelsea team. I think it's about 80 games all in all. So it's still a goal contribution every 2.5 games for a winger. It's not bad stats. Yeah, it's not Man City stats. I understand that, but that's a different animal. I think Like, you can't compare any player to their Man City form because it's just different. It's just different, you know. It is. I think it'd be a great signing for you. Bottom line is, it's a no-lose signing as well. If he don't perform, he goes back, and what have you lost? A bit of his. What did you pay him? 35% of his wages. There's
Yeah,
no
so
fee
we're paying
involved.
150k. Chelsea are paying 175k. As you said, no fee involved.
Yeah, like, it's just a perfect signing, especially when you need that cover. Like I said, like, I think he can go. I honestly believe that he's good enough to replace Martinelli if it was a signing. Obviously, it's a loan, so he wouldn't. But as you said, he's going to help the young lads around him. Like, he can play right, left. He can even play up front. That's what people do. Like, you've got a utility forward there as well. It ain't his best position up front at all. It's a bit like Marcus Rashford. You don't want him up front, really. But again, if Havertz goes down injured and Jesus goes down injured, there is an option where you're like, no, we can play him through the centre. So listen, for the money involved, I think you've pulled out a bargain there. I would definitely have took him at Man United, especially with Sancho going the other way. I would definitely have took him. So yeah, I think I understand, because we're, as football fans, we want the player that we want, and I can imagine that most Arsenal fans do want an out-and-out striker. But if Steve was here, he'd be saying the same thing. Do you need it? Havertz looks like he's going to start scoring. You know what I mean? You've got Jesus coming back, listen, you play Jesus 38 games in the season, he's probably going to get you 15 to 20 goals in that season, 12 to 20, you know what I mean? 20 top end, 12 minimum. So yeah, for me, Sterling is an astute piece of business. It really is. And if he does do really well, Chelsea want to get rid of him. So you go back at the end of the season, you're like 15 mil, 20 mil, you know what I mean? He's 30 years old. We're not paying more than that. And like, his wage is going to have to come down. He's had a good time there, so he wants to stay. Listen, no lose signing, in my opinion. Absolute no lose. Win, 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 win all the way.
Yeah, and if you go back only 2 years to his Man City stats, look, we're not expecting those Man City stats here. 30 games, 13 goals and 5 assists in the Premier League. 12 games, 3 goals, 2 assists in the Champions League. Vast experience. If you look on when he played on the right, 14 games, 7 goals, 4 assists from the right for Man City. Like, he can play on the right. And I think that, for me, is the most important thing. We've got Trossard, Martinelli. He's an option on the left. Saka needs that support on the right. He can't expect him to play 50 games in a season again and not get injured. He's been very lucky over the past few seasons. And if you look to the end of last season, he was ruled out for those last games. And that says a lot, because he plays even when he's injured. He plays when he's not even fully fit.
You don't want to Michael Owen him. You don't want to Michael Owen him. He's dead at 26. Like, he's done. Yeah. He's done. He's never the same player again. I think that's what we'll get into Marcus Rashford later on. But I think that's a similar thing that's happened to Rashi. Been playing since he was 18. You know what I mean? And never gets a rest. So, yeah. Listen. Great signing. It really is, man. It's a great signing. I think one that really could bring massive dividends for Arsenal.
All right. Next up, we have Aston Villa. They brought in Ian Maatsen from Chelsea for around 40 million euros. Samuel Lingen Jr., who's gone back out on loan straight away. Not surprising, because he didn't really play too much for Juventus, so he's probably getting there some much needed game time. Ross Barkley, Cameron Archer from Sheffield United. Some really good players. And one of the standout ones I'd say is my name's not Andre, mate. Amadou Onana.
That's such a quality clip.
I love that. It's like, my name's not Andre, mate. It's right.
It was also how South East London he sounds as well. I was not expecting that from him. But no, yeah, fair. No, great signing. How are they going to replace Oh, my mind's gone blank. Who went to Juventus? Douglas Luiz.
Yes, Douglas Luiz.
And they're not the same player
as well, I should have said.
Yeah. Oh, cool. That's a list, isn't it?
A lot of outgains. Douglas Luiz, Amari Kellyman for Chelsea, £1 million value.
Yeah,
paid 19 million for him. 19 million for a 1 million. But we'll get onto that later on. A lot of outgoings which they probably need to do. Moussa Diaby to Saudi Arabia, which was quite a surprise. But what about the incomings, Garth?
Yeah, it's one of them ones. I really like the Ross Barkley signing. 5 mil, very experienced player. It's one of them. Yeah, he knows he ain't getting first team football week in, week out. It's a great sign. Like, he's just one of them players, Ross Barkley. He's gonna give his all. You know what he's about. Like, you can't expect loads, but yeah, I heard it's reported about 5 mil. I think it's a decent signing. Ian Maatsen, I need to see this kid because I've heard great things about him, but 37.5 mil for him is book cooking in some.
Yeah, he was on loan. He was on loan at Dortmund last season and done really well. But it is quite a surprise for a player who hasn't had much time in the Premier League to be going for quite so much money, around £40 million, which was
and that's
was
basic as well. It's add-ons as well. I'm pretty sure. I think it's like 45 million in the end. So
I don't know. I can't help but think that's a part of the Chuck Wemmer and the
keeping them
Omari Kellyman deal.
Yeah, listen, we'll see. Maybe it will be worth it in the end, but no. But obviously, the big one is Onana. Great signing. I think Cameron Archer, 15 mils, a little steep as well. I'm not too sure about Cameron Archer. I think that might be a bit of a punt on Aston Villa. They had a bit of money to spend, didn't they? Because I don't know how much they got for Diaby, but they got 40 mil for him. I think they got 50 odd mil for Douglas Luiz, so they had a bit of money to spend. But yeah, Onana, great player, absolutely fantastic signing for them,
and he's had a good start to the season as well.
Yeah, I don't know much about Illing Jr. or what's the other one they signed from Juventus? Baranchea. I don't know too much about them, but again, one of them might turn out good. They've already got a solid squad there, so this is just supplementing what they need. Yeah, it's they should be yet again a decent force this season in the Premier League. You know, I can see them coming in similar position next year, 4th, 5th, 6th, something around there. So yeah, decent signings for them.
All right. Next up, we have Bournemouth. Evanilson, who was actually linked to a few clubs this summer. Luis Sinistero, who's started off well, Leeds player. If anyone's a champ player, you'd know about Sinistero as well. Yeah. Kepa Azpilicueta from Chelsea, a good signing, plenty of experience. Was on loan at Real Madrid last season. And outgoings, Dominic Solanke, Kiefer Moore, Neto, obviously, to Arsenal. Again, quite a few players going out of Bournemouth. So what you're seeing a pattern here is a lot of clubs getting rid of some fringe players that may have been clocking up some money on the wages, getting that wage bill down to bring in a much more quality. What's your thoughts on Bournemouth, Scott?
But their best bit of business this summer was getting Dominic Solanke out for 70 mil. What crazy man said, yeah, I'll pay 70, like, he's a decent striker, don't get me wrong. 70 large? Nah, fam. No. So, yeah, that's their best bit of business. The problem they've got, obviously, losing Solanke, all jokes aside, he's a good striker, is can Evanilson find them goals that, you know what I mean, like, as well. Because I like him, good player. Wilson Nestra, bring his form from the Championship into the Premier League. There's a lot of unknowns here. Arujo, apparently, again, don't know much about him. Decent player. So, Enos, who now, obviously on loan last season there, didn't set the world alight. But I like him as a player. I really do. Like, I think he only scored like twice for him last season. But he's a good, solid player. If he can find form for him. So, it's one of them ones. And Kepa, that's a great loan signing for him. Great, especially if they've just lost Neto. Yeah, great loan signing. Like, he's a very ridiculed player, but he's actually a top quality goalkeeper at the end of the day. He really is. He's not rubbish, you know. Like he had a bad time at Chelsea because they bought him for 70 mil or whatever. Yeah, which was crazy. But yeah, so for Bournemouth, there's a lot of unknown here. Like just looking at it, you know what I mean, they signed Dean Hewson from Juventus. I don't know much about him, 15.2 mil. Will he adapt to the Premier League? I've got a lot of that with Bournemouth, so I can't really grade him per se. Who I do know, Siniestra, very good player in my opinion. Unal, although he didn't set the world alight, I mean, 14 mil, see what he does, sort of thing. Kepa, decent signing, and I like Evanilson. Again, that is a champ thing though, because he's a bad man on Football Manager.
Yeah. So, 27 games, 13 goals, 4 assists last season. You would have seen him against Arsenal in the Champions League. Yeah. He's a good player. He's a good player. And I'm sure. Clubs looked at that and how he fared against Arsenal last season and thought, you know what, he might be worth a punt.
Yeah.
But 35 mil as well when you just sold Solanke for 70.
Yeah. Like, that's perfect. That's what I mean. Like, and listen, Solanke had a great year last year and they did what Brentford didn't do with Ivan Toney. Cashed in on that. Cashed in on it. So, because for me, anything over 50 mil we'll get into Spurs in a bit, but is outrageous in my opinion. But yeah, no, it's a decent enough. If you're a Bournemouth fan, you've got to hope that some of these hit the ground running, and these aren't just like players that fade away into obscurity that you've got in your squad, and you're like, oh God, I forgot we had that geezer there. Like, but half decent, I think. Like as long as they do well, yeah. So like I said, this Arojo, I've heard he's quite good, man. Like I said, I really don't know too much about him, but someone was telling me he's a half decent player. So
Yeah, I don't know too much about him either.
no,
Barcelona. So look, he's got pedigree. He's got talent, should I say? And if you look at the clubs there, like you said, there are a few players in there. It's like, as you said, it's all about how they adapt to the Premier League. I'm sure in their own leagues, coming up through the youth ranks or whatever, they were looking good and they would look like good signings. But yeah, it remains to be seen. Bournemouth for one of those teams, they've got to take those risks on those players, don't they?
Yeah, 13 caps for Mexico. Rajo, like that's sort of like he's not unknown. I just haven't seen much of him, if you know what I mean. And yeah, obviously I live in Bournemouth. My next door neighbour, he said he's a decent player. So yeah.
All right, Bournemouth fans happy with their signing.
How much of that is like? How much of that is? No, he's decent. I swear it's decent.
Brentford were busy. They managed to sign, not too busy though. They managed to sign the Liverpool duo Fabio Carvalho and Sepp van der Berg. What's your thoughts on that one? Not too many ins, a few outs there, Garth. But yeah. Fabio Carvalho gets an opportunity to show Liverpool, very, very talented player. Went back out on loan last season to get some game time and done well when he did. But Liverpool ended up getting them off the books.
Yeah, it's Carvalho for me is another one. Like I was saying a minute ago about Bournemouth. Like I think he can do well. You hope he does well. You know what I mean? You hope he comes in. He's got all the talent in the world. It's another one in place that you're just hoping will properly adjust to playing. You don't want him to turn into who did Man United let go to Fulham? I can't be Piera. Like who's just average. I think that could be an actual like solid signing, to be quite honest with you, in the end. And I like Sepp van der Berg as well. He's another one. Like he's just a solid player. He really is. And Igor Thiago, again, very similar to like I was saying about the Bournemouth again. Like, can he do it? Who knows? He's got 18 goals in 34 appearances for Club Brugge last year, 16 in 34 for Razgrad the year before. So he scores wherever he's gone so far. 23 years old. I think it was 30 mil for him. In today's market, it's so hard finding a striker. Could be one of them that turns, you know what I mean? If he bags some 12 in the season, good signing. So, yeah, again, they probably want more Brentford, but the money, it's tight. It's just tight. So, like, they've done decent enough business, in my opinion.
Again, Brentford's one of them clubs. They can't really afford to splash the cash. It's a small club. They've got to be very smart with their money. And again, it's a club that needs to cash in on some of their players. They you said it earlier. They didn't cash in on Ivan Toney, and they probably should have. These clubs need to start thinking about that. Yes, I know you want to keep your best players, but you've also got to think about the future of the club. You don't want too many transfer windows where you're not able to bring in some quality or potential that you would have been able to do with the sale of Ivan Toney a season or two ago. If you look at how Brighton do it, it feels like they've already got an eye on who the replacement is. It feels like, they might
have been the squad mate at Brighton on loan. Something
which is what they do as well.
You know, the one that has just gone on loan, but Federico Boente, like that. So they sell a winger. They've got the ready replacement there. So yeah, they do well with that, man. How much was Toney in the end? Was it 40?
40 mil, yeah.
Yeah, just quickly on Toney, for anyone who's like, what's he doing? What's he wait, mate? 28 coming on 29. They're paying him £408 a week. He was on 30. 408.
Yeah, we'll get on to Ivan Toney in a bit, because it's one which I think. Yeah, we'll get on to Ivan Toney in a bit.
So separately, sorry, right?
Yeah. As I said, Fabio Carvalho went on loan to RB Leipzig last season. Only got 9 games in the Bundesliga, but then went on loan to Hull after that. Managed to get 20 games in the Championship. Scored 9 goals and got 2 assists. So he's a player that's too good for the Championship, and it's time to just sort of cut his teeth in the Premier League now. But
that really could be the signing of that could be the sign of their summer. That could then definitely.
Yeah, I think this could be. On to Brighton and Hove Albion. Very, very busy and some good signings. A Rata from Leeds, Yankubu Mensah from Newcastle, who looks good already. Freddie Kadioglu from Fenerbahce, Matt O'Reilly. Some decent signings there.
No,
And
Riley's a
also
quality signing.
they also got a Mario Koza Dubry from Arsenal. It was a hot prospect from Arsenal. They managed to get him on a free. So some really clever signings from Brighton and quite a few players out as well. So, but one of them, Pascal Gross to Borussia Dortmund. What's your thoughts on Brighton's transfer window?
Yeah, solid. I mean, Brajan Gruda. If you know, you know, Football Manager people. If you know, you know. That's one of them, mate. Like he does the business, mate. I swear to you. So we'll see how he does, but that's the one I'm excited for. O'Reilly, great signing that is. I don't know what the fee is. I'm only reading undisclosed, so I really don't know. Kadiloglu, is that the left back everyone was talking about?
Yes, very good player. Looks good in the Euros as well.
Yeah. The only one I'd say a bit is the Jorginho Rutter for 42 mil. That seems a little pricey for what he is personally. But,
yeah, he's not a goal scorer, is he?
Yeah, he's one of them players though as well. He's not even like a strike. Like again, if we're talking Football Manager, it'd be like a forward left. You know what I mean? One of them like ones. So yeah, decent enough. Minter done well when he's played actually though.
He looked good. Look good against Arsenal.
Yeah, look against Man United. So actually, I'll take that back. So I just don't. I'm being a bit snobbish there, to be quite honest with you. And Mats Pfeiffer as well. Like they've signed this year. It feels like, but apart from Gruda, it does feel like they've gone out and signed established players for their team instead of what they do. What we were just talking about, which is going out all like scouring the Honduras league and you know what I mean, the Malian league, which is what they're good at. They've obviously built up a nice bit of transfer money over the last couple of years with the sales that they've had. Casado obviously being the big one, but they've had a couple of other reasonably big ones as well, haven't they? Like 40, 50 mils. So, yeah, I mean, they've done well keeping hold of Pedro as well. I mean, we'll get into him in a minute, but they've done well keeping hold because he's a good player. Like Danny Welbeck is still bagging them, still back. So there. I had them early on as going down, but I think they're going to be solid, safe mid-table this season with that squad that they've got now.
So, Brighton? You was worried about Brighton?
Last season, if you look into their form last season, man, like they were really, they were all over the gaff, man. They really were. I think in the end, what did they finish? 12th, 11th, but 48 points. Like it wasn't as comfortable as you think, if you know what I mean. Like they had some good form early on. And then sort of evaporated for them. So no, but yeah, with the signs they got, I don't know much about Koza Duvry. Maybe you can say a little bit more on him if you know.
He's
much
raw,
about him.
very very raw talent, pacey, similar style to Saka, but a very raw version. Got a few tricks in his locker, scores goals. It's not surprising that he didn't come through at Arsenal. Should he have got a few more opportunities? Yes, maybe, but I mean. It's a tough one. I think he played made a couple of cup appearances. It's surprising that Arsenal didn't actually cash in and they let him go on a free, and we only got compensation for him. But good luck to him. I think Brighton's a team where they can get something out of him, and it could potentially be one of them ones where we look back and think we should have given him more opportunities and we could have got a bit more money if we would have played him some minutes. So I think it's a good signing for Brighton.
Yeah, especially on a free. So
yeah. Next up, we have Chelsea. Chelsea. I don't know how they do it, but Kieran Dewsbury Hall, João Felix, Pedro Neto, Mark Gui, Amari Kellerman for 19 million, only valued at 1. It's it's crazy that deal. And the standout one on right at the end of the transfer window is Manchester United winger Jadon Sancho on a loan with an obligation to buy. Chelsea, we're gonna make this a blue day.
I mean, what are they up to? What is going on with that squad, man? Like, if you were someone that Chelsea had come in knocking on your door about, why would you like? I know it sounds crazy, but why would you go there at the moment? This squad is so stacked. It's and I don't mean stacked in a good way either. It's just so full of players. Listen, their window. I can't rate it at the moment because a lot of these players, the Sanchos, like he's been dead in the Premier League for 2 seasons. I wanted him to stay at Man United. If he does really well, it's a great signing because they're going to have to pay 25 mil. I think it's a 10 mil loan fee. So it'll be 35 mil in the end. And his wages, obviously, which are a lot. But you look at some of these other names on this list. Philip Jorgensen from Villarreal. Why have they signed him? Is that to flip him in a year, like they've just done with David Washington? Is that what that is?
It is. Of course, it's
like it's
the David
Estavo
Washington one
Wilton.
was honestly, it made me sick to my stomach. It's disgusting. You got a Brazilian wonder kid last season, for what 15, 16 mil. You try and sell him to Strasbourg, your sister club, for a profit after playing 28 minutes, and you thought that was okay. And then you stopped because the amount of press it had picked up on it and said, "What's going on here?"
Oh, did it not go through in the end?
No, they pulled out because they were worried they were going to get investigated. That's how crazy it is.
Yeah. Like I'm saying, like you go through this list, like Renato Vega. Like I'm not saying he's a bad player or anything, but your team is so stacked. What are you doing? Like Pedro Neto. Something that Chelsea fans probably can get excited about. I don't rate him as high as everyone else does. His injuries are so bad, like horrific injuries, and he doesn't really score or assist. But again, if he can stay injury free and he can find form, then it could turn into a good signing. Kelly, man, how many minutes? Honestly, let's how many minutes?
25 minutes. He's played
25 minutes this season.
He's played 25. He played 25 minutes for Aston Villa. And
right. How many minutes?
£90 million. How
many minutes for Chelsea this season do you reckon he's getting?
Zero.
That's what I was about to say.
Zero.
Mark Gay.
I think they want to. I think a couple of Chelsea fans like the look of him, but they said he needs to go out on loan.
Definitely. And Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. I mean, I know that the manager wanted him, but that's when Chelsea have to say no. Like he's a decent player, but we've got far better here at this squad. Like far better already. And to be fair, what they've done to Sterling, what they've done to Conor Gallagher, it's disgraceful. It's absolutely disgraceful. Now, I know all clubs have to get players out, but to actually turn around and be like, you are not welcome here. I don't care. And just because you've come through the academy so I can make some money off you, get out. Especially someone like Conor Gallagher, when Palace wanted him, was it 2 years ago? They had him. It was Conor Gallagher, Palace. And like they were willing to pay decent money for it. And the Chelsea were like, no, we're keeping him. And now... listen, he's in Madrid. So he's probably like Crystal Palace or Madrid. I understand, but still, they're a mess of a club in my opinion. They're gonna get dealt with somewhere along the line. Obviously, people could have their own opinions on whether what they're doing is legal or not legal, but morally, it's unacceptable. It's just wrong what's going on with that club. If they found a loophole, fair play, but it feels like every loophole that they think they've got is getting shut in their face because they can't sell their hotels to themselves now, can they? That's been so even if the Premier League UEFA aren't allowing that to go on their books, so that's going to be a big blow to them.
Too right. I know. I think the Premier League is turning a blind eye to it because I don't know why. I don't know why that UEFA aren't allowing it when we know as football fans it's not right, but the Premier League are kind of going, well, we haven't quite made a decision on that yet. That doesn't make sense to me. It blows me away that the Premier League would even contemplate allowing that. And maybe it's because they've allowed it with Manchester City, where Manchester City sold their own training ground to the Dubai or whatever it was. But you've got to put a stop to this. You've got to put a stop to it. It's cooking the books in the most blatant, obvious way. Yeah, it's brazen. It's in your face, and it's a kick in the teeth to all those other teams that are trying. Like you said, everyone tries to bend the rules. Everyone tries to find a loophole. But when it's this obvious, when you've got a hotel and you're selling it to your own company, mate, I'm sorry, and you're selling players to your own sister club for profit after the players haven't even played for the team. That honestly, mate, it's disgusting. I think it's shocking, and the Premier League needs to put a serious stop to it now.
Yeah, and it's the way that they're doing these players as well, because that's taken a year out of David Washington's career. That's like his age. If he had gone, he hasn't gone now, but obviously he's not going to get played because they just signed João Felix as well. We'll quickly get into it in a second. But what are you doing to these players, man? Because he was a talent, he was a prospect. We've barely seen him. João Felix, everyone knows who watches this channel what I think of João Felix. I think he's so overrated. This is another one that we'd like to say, maybe he'll finally turn up and be the player that Atletico Madrid spent 111 mil on from Benfica. But I know he scored. Was it his debut? He scored on, but he's a 1 in 4 man, people, and that's all through his career. He's been a 1 goal, 4 games, 1 goal man. So they really need him to improve those numbers. And what's going on? Who's playing? What's their best starting lineup? They've got 15 players that are not even allowed to train with the first team now, apparently, or whatever it is. It is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And as you said, the likes of Conor Gallagher, you've got to feel for him. He didn't want to go, and he's been forced out of the club. Trevor Chalobah, another talented player that they've ended up getting off the books, only on loan, but I think that's probably going to be made permanent once he gets more game time and his transfer value goes up. You can see what they're doing. It's part of the game, selling players, but it just feels like you're losing some of that identity of the club when you're not bringing through youth players and not keeping them. You see Alfie Gilchrist also gone out. These players, you want when you got players in your youth team, you want them players to see that there's a pathway to the club, and when they're seeing that these players are sort of there for only monetary value, it kind of I wonder how long it will be until these youngsters start going to other clubs, because Chelsea have an absolutely outstanding youth team. They've always had. So I wonder if it will impact that long term. Be interesting to see. Crystal Palace. I spoke to Crystal Palace fans last night. They're very happy with their transfer window. One of the players,
they should be.
Yeah, Ismaila Sarr, a player that he's been touted around for a while, and they've taken the punt on him. Kamada as well, a solid player. Eddie Nketiah, Trevor Chalobah on loan from Chelsea, and a few outs. Joachim Anderson, Michael Elise to Bayern Munich, and Jordan Ayew as well. What's your thoughts on Crystal Palace's window?
Listen, they're the best thing for Crystal Palace, and I don't get many right, but I said this: they kept Eze and Gueye. No one was paying the money they wanted for Eze and Gueye. The people that could have got Eze, they didn't need him. No one's paying the 70 mil for him. No one's paying 80 mil for Gueye, and that is what they're worth. So that's for me, that's why I should be well happy with this window. We all knew that they're going to lose Elise. Chalobah, fantastic signing, especially after losing
Joachim
Anderson. But so's Chedi Riyad. Chedi Riyad, the one from Barcelona, Moroccan centre back, been on loan at Betis all of last season. Could be like that's one of them ones that could be one of them undercover signings of the season out of nowhere. Really could. And Eddie Nketiah, we all know what he's about. Palace. I mean, Mateta did well last year, but for a long time, it always seems like they've got a decent team and then just not a good strike force. Like Benteke could never score for them. So another decent signing, especially to give. Edouard go?
Edouard went to Leicester in the end.
Yeah, so they've got Mateta and now they've got Nketiah. That's two good strikers for them. They've got a good manager. They've got solid foundation. They've got a solid team. Like honestly, that could Crystal Palace should not be scared to dream of Conference League football next season. They really shouldn't. That's what they should be looking at. Yeah, definitely top 10. They really should.
Yeah, I agree. Next up, we have Everton. Some would say it's slightly underwhelming. Not many players there that you'd probably know. Borja on loan. Amari Benjamin from Arsenal. I don't really know much about himself. Jasper Lindstrom. What's your thoughts on Everton's transfer window, Garth?
Yeah, they've had the worst window
Mangala as well from Lyon, and I think towards the end of the transfer window.
Asmir Bergovic. How old is that man now? Fair play to him. Fair play. Still getting that first.
I didn't see that.
Still getting that third goalkeeper slot. Love it, bruv. That's fair play. Yeah, fair play. Worst transfer window of the summer, I think, for any club. Personally, I can't maybe I'll change my mind as we go a little further down. But for me, honestly, I'm looking at it now. Jack Harrison's probably the best player that they signed on loan from Leeds. So, and that says everything you need to know. Just for Lindstrom. He's one of them again. He's just one of those Premier League like Scandinavian players. He'll probably do all right, but yeah. And as for the rest of them, I mean, I honestly don't know. I don't know much about however you pronounce that, Ingra Bunnam. And Dia is all right. Yeah, if I'm Everton, I'm worried this season.
And they should be. They've had a terrible start to the season.
Yeah,
fans not happy.
Capitulated against Bournemouth, obviously. So
yeah. I would seriously worry for them. I see this if not for those clubs that have come up that aren't looking too great. Everton Everton are going to be in a relegation battle, and this is without that 10-point deduction. I think that 10-point deduction galvanised the team last season, and they don't have that. So I'm wondering where they're going to get their motivation from, and it will probably be, as per usual, fighting relegation. So
the only plus is it Dyche they've got? There is Dyche, isn't it? It's the only plus.
He's been there before.
Like he's been there, he's done it. He's got the t-shirt. You know what I mean? That's the new age.
Sam Allardyce.
You knew I was thinking of. Yeah, it's the new age Allardyce, mate. That is without a shadow. So, yeah, and Brozier. I've always liked Brozier, but like Brozier's again, this is what Chelsea do to players. He's just like because he goes out on loan all the time. He's never had a stable club. Like,
yeah,
it's a shame for him.
He's an Everton type player. You're going to get 1 in 3, 1 in 4. But I think the important thing with Brozier is you're going to get like a player that works hard, a player that can hold up the ball well, a player that can be a nuisance, be trouble, and that's kind of what Everton need. What they do also need is they need Dominic Calvert-Lewin to score some goals. They need the Dominic Calvert-Lewin that was under Ancelotti, where he was back in goals. He's when I was seeing clubs in for him, it was a bit like, what are you buying with Dominic Calvert-Lewin? He's so inconsistent. He's always injured. And I've only ever seen him for 1 or 2 seasons where he looked, do you know what? This is the Dominic Calvert-Lewin that they was talking about as a youth player who was coming through the ranks. But yeah, we haven't seen that one since. So it'd be interesting to see how they do. But yeah, Everton's definitely a club I worry for. Fulham made some decent signs. They've got Emil Smith-Rowe, Croydon De Bruyne, Joachim Anderson, Sander Berg from Burnley, and Reece Nelson on loan from Arsenal. Also brought back Ryan Sessegnon. Thoughts on Fulham?
One of the best transfer windows of the summer, mate. Like, not loads of incomings, but Emil Smith-Rowe, that's a player that's just waiting to rip up for him. Anderson from Palace, we've seen what he's about. Solid, quality centre-back for him. Sander Berg, there's a reason Man United and a couple of other teams were looking at him for that position. So, yeah, it's not like this is quality over quantity. This is like no two ways about it. And even, I can never pronounce these names, Kunyka is a solid like centre-back, left-back. Like, he's been on loan the last couple of seasons. Almira and Getafe done well there. So I don't know what the fee for him was. Let me just check quickly. But if it's not too expensive, that's a decent signing as well. It's undisclosed, of course it is. But Reece Nelson, we know what Reece Nelson's about. Solid off the bench player for Fulham. Like at Fulham's level, that's a solid off the bench player for him. Ryan Sessegnon, meh. That's the only one. A bit meh.
Well, they got rid of Bobby Cordova-Reid, who I like, honest player, and they've replaced him with Reece Nelson. I think giving Reece Nelson some game time, that you could probably see that as an upgrade. Like you said, Sander Berg, solid player. He's a player that has always been linked to big clubs from when he was playing in Norway way back then. So,
and you're not replacing Palina because that was an absolute unbelievable bit of business. But that's the next best thing is bringing a solid, destroying the DM who can pass sideways. Like you're not, you know what I mean? Man United have just done. That's what Ugarte is basically. He's just a better level than Sander. So yeah, no, one of the best transfer windows of the summer for Fulham, without a shadow of a doubt. For me,
I fully agree. Ipswich Town managed to bring in Liam Delap, who's already scored from Manchester City. Rory Delap's son, Amari Hutchinson from Chelsea for about 25 million, I think it was. Very good players, had a really good season with them last season. Calvin Phillips from Man City. Some really interesting signings, some Premier League quality, and some sort of unknown, I wouldn't say risks in the likes of Amari Hutchinson and Liam Delay, but some decent signings there for Ipswich.
Yeah, Liam Delap, another champ favourite, and like a couple of years ago, like that was one of the best players on the game. Dara O'Shea, again, another solid. This is what I mean. Ipswich have bought to stay in the Premier League. That's what they've done, and
they really have
astute business with that. That like everyone you look at on that list, Calvin Phillips, great signing for them.
Jack
great
Clark.
Signing, exactly the same. Great signing for them. Like,
Ben Johnson from West Ham.
Every one of these players is going to take you into the dirt and make it hard and nasty when you play against them. Almost every one of them. Like they really, they are. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I think they've also bought that if they do go down, this is a team that's coming straight back up.
Great shout, fantastic shout.
Yeah.
But yeah, solid transfer window for Ipswich, and they haven't spent ridiculous amounts either. I'm just looking through it now. They've probably only spent, what's that? So 15, 30, 50, 65. Yeah, they spent about 75 million on all them players. It's really not too shabby. Like it's really like fair play to them. Yeah, good transfer window. And I've always liked Ipswich Town, one of the original Premier League teams.
Yeah.
So
Marcus Stewart,
Darren
Bent, Darren Ambrose.
Took them to the UEFA Cup. Like, come on.
Yeah. Very, very good team. And Johnson, who now plays for Tottenham. Brennan Johnson's dad.
Brennan Johnson.
Johnson's dad.
You've done me on the spot here now.
It's not Michael Johnson, is it? Who is it?
No, Michael Johnson's the runner, isn't he?
Yeah. Brennan Johnson's dad plays for
Ipswich as well. In the comments, someone give that to us.
In the comments, help us out, please. Help us out. Calvin Phillips as well.
As old as us.
Yeah, Calvin is. Calvin Phillips as well. I think he needs this type of club. He needs this type of club. Week in, week out, no pressure. There's no pressure on him. Yeah. And it's almost like it went under the radar as well. So he needs to look. Calvin Phillips, I really like him. I think he needs to go back to how he was playing when he was at Leeds, where he was that Tom Brady quarterback sort of DM. I think when he went to Man City, they were trying to play him in a Rodri role. It didn't work. When he went to West Ham, he was trying to injuries and just inconsistency. And West Ham ain't a place where you can sort of build yourself up over time. You need to kind of hit the ground running. Those fans are going to be on your back because they expect quality over there.
Yeah, and no disrespect to West Ham, it's also got to be a bit of a downhearted moment as well that you're now out of the Man City squad and you're at West Ham. Like, what's happened here? You know, I mean, you brought me in, so there's no disrespect to West Ham. Even West Ham fans will know what I'm trying to say there. I'm not using my words right, but maybe you didn't see the best Calvin Phillips because he was a bit honestly, one of the signings of the summer, because I am surprised other clubs didn't go in for Calvin Phillips. At Ipswich Town got him. I would have had him at Man United. I swear to you. I'm not. Obviously, we wouldn't have got him, but I could easily seen a Liverpool taking Calvin Phillips, easily. Especially if he's going to Ipswich. If the Liverpool comes knocking, we'll take you. You're gonna have to work way into this team though. We didn't get who were they going for? Zubimendi. So Ipswich Town pulled out a great one there.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's probably the reason why Calvin Phillips may not have done so great at West Ham as well. It's a loan. There's no fixed station. It's not home.
Was it a January loan as well? Was it January? Yeah.
This
is a loan, isn't it? This is a loan to Ipswich. This is a loan as well.
Is it?
This is a loan as well, mate. Yeah. That's what I mean. That's why I'm surprised someone else doing it. But I know. I was going to say the same thing. A January loan is different as well, man. It's just you're not wanted. You know what I mean? It takes a lot to get over that. Footballers are humans at the end of the day. Yeah. And to realise that you could have stayed at Leeds and been a hero, but you sold me a dream, Pep. You sold me a dream, mate. You've cost me my England career. You've cost me my European Championship place. You've cost me so much, mate. And it's not even like I've had a chance here, really. And then you go to West Ham. It's a completely different setup. He's going to start fresh. He's got a full season. I believe there's not an obligation to buy, but a whatever it is to buy from it, an option. Yeah, and now you're going to come in and hopefully you become that cult hero at Ipswich that you were at Leeds. You know what I'm saying? No one begrudged him moving to Man City because that's the right move at the time. Because we all thought he was going to get minutes, but very disappointed for him. So very good move for Ipswich and for him, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree. Next up, we have Leicester City. Oliver Skipp from Tottenham, Jordan Ayew from Crystal Palace, Bobby De Cordova-Reid. For me, slightly underwhelming. Very
underwhelming.
That's maybe nice. I worry for Leicester. They've lost their manager, and it doesn't seem like they've had much direction in that transfer window there. It just doesn't seem. I'm not impressed at all, if I'm honest.
No, that's honestly, Facundo Buente on loan from Brighton. I'd like to see him get a full season. That could be a saviour for them because he's a really talented player. Really talented if he gets minutes under his belt. But apart from that, you look at that Jordan Ayew, No,
Mm.
sorry, I don't know who sold you Jordan. I don't know who sold you that you get a decent player there, mate. But no, Abdul Fatwa, how you pronounce it? I mean, he got the
Was he
same
there
birthday.
last season?
He was on loan last season and done well for him. So that could
Yeah.
be, from Sporting, winger, very different in the Premier League, obviously, but it's 19 Ghana caps, so he's experienced. So that could be a decent signing for him. You know what I mean? Like, but Oliver Skip, 25 mil. Like, I don't know who your director of football is. I don't know who's doing your signings, mate. But like, yeah, you've been sold down the river on two of them because Skip ain't worth coming. Like, Skip is Skip, man. Like, and if you're Leicester spending 25 mil, you're expecting a first team key player. And Jordan Ayew, Odison Edouard from Palace, decent striker if you can get him scoring. So yeah, I mean, if I was a Leicester fan, I would be very worried. They've always got Vardy though, I suppose. They've always got Jamie Vardy still, the Red Bull drinking veteran. They've still got him, so fair play.
All right. Next we have Liverpool. Very, very quiet. Georgi Mamadashvili who'll be joining the club next season, but possibly it could be the signing of the summer. Federico Chiesa for around 12 to 15 million. Problem is ACL injury has been the reason why he hasn't reclaimed his form since Euros 2020. So could be a smart bit of business, but not many signings at all for new manager Arne Slot.
Yeah, this is clearly FPL at work right here. I think they thought they were getting Alisson to move to Saudi for a big money transfer, and it didn't happen. Obviously, they got. Listen, Arne Slot's come in. Liverpool, we'll get into it in a minute. Liverpool doing well under him because he hasn't changed too much. But they're in trouble in the next couple of years. I mean, did you see Salah saying that this is his last season? Obviously, it was a bit like,
yeah.
Like, oh dear, Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Matip's gone this year. Like, they've got to hope a couple of the young boys step up. But yeah, Federico Chiesa, listen, if he stays fit, decent player for him, especially at that price. Like, very, very good player for him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they missed out on Zubimendi, but they did football clubs are going to have to start being a little bit more astute when it comes to players like flirting with them. Man United did this a couple of years ago with Frankie de Jong. If he ain't coming to meet you and sign in, just walk away. Just don't we? Well, I'll tell you in 2 weeks. No, mate, I need to know now. Like, I need to know today. I need to know.
But Zubimendi essentially said the same thing to Arsenal, so I don't know why Liverpool wasted so much time on it. And I said previously, because there was a lot of talk about Nico Williams moving and Arsenal paying his release clause and things like that. And I said, look at the history of players moving from Spanish clubs to anywhere after Spain have won a World Cup, a European Championship. It don't happen. It's the other way round. They want to go back to Spain. They want that feel-good factor over there. They want to be a part of the team that they've just won with. Like, you saw Arsenal losing Cesc Fabregas, not directly the season after, but that season that he had after they won the World Cup was a flat season for Cesc Fabregas in terms of performances. Yes, he may have put up the stats, but his head was elsewhere. I don't see why Liverpool felt that they could really get Zubimendi, especially when he already said he wanted to stay at Real Sociedad.
Because didn't they slam the door in Real Madrid's face as well? Didn't they? I'm pretty sure or someone like that might have been Barcelona.
It's Barcelona.
Yeah, it was another big club that were looking at him. Listen, I was a Liverpool fan. I'd be very underwhelmed with this transfer window, and I can imagine that they are very underwhelmed.
Yeah, and look, like you said, the writing's on the wall. Alisson, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, he's going. Like, I wouldn't say I'm worried about Liverpool, but if I was a Liverpool fan, there'd be a little bit concern, and I'd be keeping a big eye on the transfer windows over the next couple of seasons because, even when you look at the likes of Joel Matip going out on a free, Thiago Alcantara going on a free, these are players that you paid money for and you haven't been able to get any money back for. That's big. That's really.
And you haven't replaced them as well.
And you ain't replaced them.
Yeah. So not just
maybe they did a bit of that last season with Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, who's looking good this season. But Liverpool started the season well, so there's nothing to worry. They've still got Salah. They've still got these players. will they get money for Salah next season from Saudi Arabia? Yes, and you can try and milk as much as you can out of it. That's got to be the important thing.
It's a free.
Is it free?
His contract's up, isn't it? I think. Oh, hold up. Yeah, I thought his contract was up. Maybe I'm wrong.
You can't be losing Salah on a free.
Contract.
It says it's last year. How long has he got left? 2022 signed a 3-year contract.
So yeah, it's on a free.
Yeah. Oh
yeah, 2025. Yeah, it's a free. That's what I thought, because that's what he said at the end of the game. Liverpool Man United game. He was like, "Listen, no one's talked to me about a contract, so this is my last time playing at Old Trafford." So like, you're losing Salah on a free, so you get no money there either, man.
If you're Liverpool, what do you do? Do
you talk to him properly and say, "Listen, mate, we've done. Look, you're one of our heroes. Sign a year. Sign a year so we can sell you to our ad. We're going to let you go. We're not going to keep you, but sign a year extension and let us get 40, 50 mil for your son. Come on now, you know what I mean? They're going to pay it. So, and you're still going to get your 400, 600, 800 grand a week over there. That's what you've got to do. That's what you've got to do, man. Because otherwise, it gets even worse for him if it comes down that they're getting no money for him. And I think it's very similar with Van Dijk, man. I think it's very similar with Van Dijk. I think it's the season after next that his contract's up.
And how much do you get for Van Dijk anyway? He's only going to be going to a Saudi or where does
I could see an Italian club. I could see a Juventus and I could easily.
The problem is with Italian clubs, they pay you in packets of crisps and they're so cheap. You don't get no money from Italian clubs.
25 mil. 25
can we
mil
do a loan with an obligation and we'll pay you 15 mil on the transfer loan fee and 10 mil on the obligation? No, like what? They need to send him to Saudi. That's it. The be all and end all. That's it. Manchester City, very, very quiet. Brought back Gundogan and Savinho from Troyes. Is their club, is it?
Yes, well done. No, it's their club, but it's not theirs. Their club. It's theirs. It is their club. It's part of the group, but because they're not in the same Europe, like Man United fans have got a stick up their ass about like, how did we not get to Debo? It's because we're in the same competition as Lille.
You was almost not able to enter it, weren't you?
Yeah. It was. It wasn't almost. There was a chance that we might not be able to, but like it's been that bit's not so bad. But you can't. So that's why you can't sign him. But yeah, it's their own club. Obviously, they gave him choice the money to buy him. He spent a year there. Is it 2 years, 1 year, whatever it is?
Yeah.
He's a good player, man. Solid player. The thing with Man City is they don't need to buy. And again, like people keep saying, De Bruyne's 33. It's like people have never seen Modric. He's just 39 years old, still ripping it apart. I know it's Spain, but De Bruyne don't look like he's slowing down.
Kovacic, they brought in on a cheap, and he's much better player at Man City than he is at Chelsea.
Yeah, Gundogan's 33. Like, it doesn't matter at Man City because the system's so good. And all the time you've got that absolute freak of nature up front. Like, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? The curse of the FPL.
And you've got to give them credit for some of the players they bring through. Players like Oscar Bob, and they give opportunities for
Rico Lewis.
Rico Lewis, who gets game time. They've got some youth players they could probably just slot in as well.
Yeah, but obviously they're being careful as well, Man City, because they know that with the charges are up. Well, the charges are up. Like Man City have been clever. They cannot go overspending this year when the court case is happening this year. You know what I mean? So some lawyer can just be like, mate, they're so brazen. They've done it this year. They've spent 400 mil this year. It's just like, so listen, Man City will probably sign in January as well. I can't see him not getting a backup striker in January. Gundogan, astute business on a free, bring him back. You know what I mean? Loved by the manager, loved by the fans.
Yeah.
Fair play. How much do they get for Joe Cancelo in the end as well? A good 20, 30 mil, I'm guessing. So,
he went to Saudi as well.
So decent enough window for them.
And look, they this is one thing that Man City are really good at. Liam Delap, Tommy Doyle. These players all rack up money. I think Man City have got about 400 million in transfer fees from under 21s players that have played all of about 20 minutes, because they get 40 millions for the likes of Cole Palmer. They sell on fees for players like who's the one that was at Southampton and went to Chelsea in the end. The centre midfielder.
Lavia.
These are all
Yeah.
Man City products.
There's so many you don't know as well. There's so many. You just don't
List is
realise when we see it.
crazy.
And
The list
to
is
be fair,
crazy.
we're getting to Man United now. That's what Man United have done well with this new Ineos ball this year. Is like everyone we've sold, like people got a bit upset with the fees, but it's like there's 50%, 30% sell-on fees in there. You know what I mean? Like bonuses. It's like, and so yeah. But yeah, Man City. No one's worried about it. You shouldn't be worried if you're a Man City fan. You'll spend in January, I promise you.
Yeah, they will. Man United, I would say a very impressive transfer window. Lenny Euro, Joshua Zirkzee, Matthias de Ligt, Ugarte. These are all known players. These are all established players, and there's some up-and-coming youngsters as well, some prospect. What's your thoughts on the transfer window itself? We won't go into Man United's form. We're going that in a bit. But the transfer window itself.
No complaints, man. So can you just scroll down to them sales for me, just quickly, because I've only got the buys on my list here. That's what I'm very happy about. Scott McTominay, nearly 30 mil. Alvaro Fernandez, it's like 6 mil, but 40% sell on. Mason Greenwood, 27 mil with a big sell on fee. Wan-Bissaka 15. I don't think there's a sell on fee on that one, but still Palestri 6 mil, big sell on fee. Medri, big sell. Donny van de Beek, big sell on fee. Kambwala 10 mil. Like they've done well in releasing it. So yeah, but as for incomings, listen, I don't know much about Lenny Euro. No one does. No one was watching Lille last year. We just know that Real Madrid and Liverpool were after him, and we got him. So that's banging. Well happy about that. Like Matthias de Ligt, I've been a big fan for a long time. A long time. Like that's for me. You know, sometimes as a fan, I don't know if you have this, but you see a player and you're like, "That's a Man United player," or you're like, "That's an Arsenal player," and you've always think that
all the time. And then like 3 seasons down the line, it's like Arsenal been linked with you. You're like, what? Yeah, I do it all the time.
I've got no rhyme or reason to it, but I've always thought the de Ligt was a Man United player. So Mazraoui, obviously, we all know what he's about. Mazraoui's one of them.
He's done well. He's done well.
But people slept on that one because he's a quality fullback. Like quality. People are like, he doesn't even play right back for his national team because they've got Hakimi. It's like, no, but he plays left back for him instead. Yeah. Like, come on now. And Ugarte, I mean, listen, it's what we need. I
very aggressive centre midfielder. If you notice with PSG, when they play English teams or rugged, tough teams, they put him in. When they play the big stern teams, they put him in. And I think he suits the Premier League.
Yeah, so that's hopefully the only problem we've got is we've still got that bald fraud on the left there. So, but we'll get into that.
Get into that bit. We're trying to breeze through the rest of this now.
Window, this not just for me. I think this is the best transfer window of the summer, and I haven't been able to say that as a Man United fan for many years. If it's not the best, it's right up there in the top 2 or 3 of best on incomings. So, yeah,
I agree. And they gave Man United an A as well, so I think they agree.
Yeah, there you go then.
Newcastle.
Who just said the worst one? Leicester. Newcastle were close.
Underwhelming. Lewis Hall, I think they signed him on a permanent from Chelsea. He was on loan there last season. John Ruddy from Birmingham. Lloyd Kelly from Bournemouth. I mean, Privas. I don't know nothing about him.
Nope.
Yeah, I would be. I saw someone ask what's happened to the Newcastle team that were exciting and expansive. They're not able to buy in players. Because I think it's probably because of commercial dealings, because they've not won anything, because they've not sort of been into. I mean, they got into the Champions League, but they need that sort of history to be able to spend, and they can't just spend the money that they've got. They're one of the richest clubs in the Premier League, if not the richest.
But they're the richest club in the world, aren't they? Like literally, with their owners. Yeah. I think they are. Yeah. And is that John Ruddy? As in John Ruddy? Yeah. Like, it's not a new young fella, is it? That's John Ruddy, the goalkeeper, right?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Talking of Asmir Begovic, God, mate, being a third goalkeeper must be awesome.
Honestly, that being a third goalkeeper, was my ambition. Like that was my ambition, to be a third goalkeeper for a Premier League team. I'm not. I could be first. Second. I don't need the pressure of being second. I'm not really fighting for that spot. Give me third. In training, I'll put the pressure on. In training, I'll be there to set you up. I'll be there to be the other guy that's saving shots when I'm there working with the other goalkeeper and you need players to work with you. That was me. You know what I mean?
Give me that FA Cup third round against Halifax Town.
Scott Carson is my idol.
Tom Heaton at Man United did nothing.
Stuart Taylor. Like, you might not know these people, but I know these people.
Quality, yeah, fair play to John Ruddy. Yeah, but that's do you know what, I take it back, Newcastle, considering what they're aspiring to be, where they want to be at the end of the season, and what they've already got in their team, which isn't the strongest. Like Tonali's back though. Excuse me. Tonali's back, which is decent for them, but what they've got already, yeah, that's the worst transfer window of the Premier League so far for me. That is.
I can only imagine they are preparing to sell the likes of Bruno Guimaraes, Isaac next season, and make some money on those. But they'll
make good money.
Well, they're going to the last year of their contract as well, I think, that next season.
Oh, are they? Ooh,
yeah, so
that's
why Arsenal weren't willing to pay the 100
down at 60. Yeah.
So I wonder if I wonder if they come in next season with the last year of their contract and sort of put the pressure on, because they have to sell. They have to sell because they need to make some money up so they can buy some players in.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. Yeah, that's a bad transfer window. That really is. Like, I didn't realize it was that bad. Yeah.
Really bad. And what did they get? They got a D for that. It's not surprising. It's D for detention. Nottingham Forest. Elliot Anderson, good player from Newcastle. Newcastle cashing in there, making 100% profit. Eric De Silva Moreno. Carlos Miguel. Again, Nottingham Forest is like, you throw enough shit at the wall and some's going to stick. That seems to be their transfer policy over the last couple of seasons, and they're carried it on now. But I think they've got quite a few players off the books as well, which they definitely needed to do.
I was just about to say what's they got down there. Yeah.
Vast list of players they need.
The one to look out for me is the centre back Milinkovic. Good centre back. Good, the one from Fiorentina. Solid player. Like real solid player, to be quite honest. I mean, he must have at least, I'm just looking now, 56 caps for Serbia. Like, you know what you're getting. Like, he ain't no Nemanja Vidic, but he is just solid, mate. So
wasn't David Carmo linked to Man United a couple of seasons ago as well?
Do you know what? I don't know, brother. I really don't on that one. At that point, Man United were linked with everyone, so it wouldn't surprise me.
He was 2 years ago. It was.
Yeah. You just got the same article I just got.
No, because I saw his name. I was like, no, I recognize him. Yeah, no, he was linked to Man United.
So, have they sent him straight back on loan? Have they? That's a weird one. I'm just looking. I'm just looking at Wikipedia.
Yes, Olympiacos.
Who had him last season on loan from Porto. So random dodgy deal there. Unless he had a 2-year loan at Olympiacos, which does happen in Europe, and Newcastle bought him this summer for next year. That might be the only. Otherwise, it's just a weird transfer. That is altogether. Yeah. So, but Milinkovic, brother. Honestly, that's one of what. Like, I can see back in the day, that would be a signing that you then see plays a year for Forest, and then Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool buy him, because he's had a great year. So.
All right. On to Southampton. Aaron Ramsdale. I think it's a good signing for Southampton. I think it's a perfect club for him, if I'm honest. He needs game time. He just needs his confidence back because he's a player that relies very much on confidence. Taylor Harwood-Bells from Manchester City, a good prospect from Manchester City. Good play. I can't remember where he was at last season, but he'd done well. Ryan Fraser from Newcastle. Quite a few incomings as well for Southampton. Yeah. Not surprising. Adam Lallana back at his old club.
Cornet as well, decent. I think they've done exactly as we were talking about.
Not the Forest.
Yeah, no. About they're buying if they go down.
Okay. Yes.
Apart from Ramsdale, these are all players that are not going to be on big money. That if you do go down, they're not going to demand a move away from the club. You know what I mean? Breton Diaz, that's another.
This is an interesting one because he actually done well on Sheffield United when he came into the Prem in the second half of the season last season. So I think that's a good one. That one.
Yeah, and it's another one of the Man City boys as well. I'm pretty sure. Don't hold me to that, but
Yeah, he was
pretty
at
sure he
Blackburn.
is.
He was at Blackburn as well, and he done well in the Championship, which is why he got his move to Villarreal in the first place. So yeah, I think some good signings there.
Yeah, Aaron Ramsdale will be again like Aaron Ramsdale could be a difference maker for Southampton. Like he really could. You got to give him a little bit of time because I think you said this to me. He hasn't played in a year, really. You know what I mean? So he's going to be a little rusty. But that's the sort of player. 25 mil, fantastic signing for Southampton. Absolutely fantastic. And again, another player that needed to move to. He weren't taking Raya's spot. He needs that England career push. You know, Pickford's not old. But that place is perhaps Pickford shouldn't be nailed on number one. Like he shouldn't be.
Great season last
year. Yeah, exactly. So, Tom, just quickly, what is he doing bringing Angel Gomez into that team? Like, what are you up to?
That spun me
because he played with under 21s, dude. That's what that is. He's giving because he ain't done nothing. Wherever he went, I forget where he went.
Did he go Lille in the end?
Was it Lille? He ain't ripped up out of it, man. Got like 4 goals in 3 years or something crazy like that. Like it's crazy.
He can trust, isn't he?
Yeah, that's because he played with no. But sorry, complete sidebar there. Yeah, Ramsdale could be signing in the summer for me. That's like I said, I've got a few. But because mate, he could be. That's when he once saves a couple of big because he is a big saver. That's the thing. Like he may not be the greatest with his feet, and yet he's prone to an error here or there. But he's also he saves you points with some of his absolute monumental reflex saves, man. So
yeah, and you say he may not be the greatest with his feet, but he's good with his feet. But David Raya is just excellent with his feet. Like that's the difference. Like, and when you're talking about the difference between pushing for the league and not, if your team is built around playing out from the back, your goalkeeper needs to be excellent with his feet. Edison, Alisson, they need to be like that. Neuer, they need to be that. Now, David Raya ain't that, but when you're talking about levels, he's probably just under those best goalkeepers in the world with their feet. And Aaron Ramsdale, when he first came in, and the difference between Emi Martinez and Bernd Leno, Aaron Ramsdale looks excellent with his feet. But when you're looking for the 1%, it's a little bit different. So I think he's going to be comfortable at the club. And as a goalkeeper, I've been there myself. If you're being asked to do something you're not comfortable to do, it properly takes you out of your zone. It properly does. I know he's young, so he's got time in his hands, but still, at a club like Arsenal, when you're trying to push for the league, you don't have that time. You've got to be consistent.
Yeah. Do you know what? I was wrong. That Barrett and Diaz, because I just think 6.5 mil bargain, absolute bargain. That is for, but he's actually Man United. He is Man United youth player. Yeah. I thought he was Man City, but it's not. It's Man United. Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. No. No. I think that's a really good signing. Barrett and Diaz.
6.5 mil is a bargain. Yeah. Proper bargain.
And how many goals did he get last season?
6 in the Premier League, 14 games. 6 goals. Assists. Yeah, and probably got a couple of assists as well. Like, so really can't grumble at that.
Can't grumble at all. They got an A as well. Tottenham Hotspur, Dominic Solanke, Lucas Bergville, Archie Gray, who's very impressed with that. They signed Timo Werner on a permanent deal. So some decent signings, but Dominic Solanke's the one where you're saying £70 million is too much for him, especially with his goal scoring record. Yeah. Oh, and I think they signed a player called Amity Cabernet. What do you think of Amity Cabernet?
That is the worst dad joke I've heard you ever heard you say.
Bro, have you not seen that video? There's a Tottenham podcast, where someone puts in a super chat and he's gone, Amity Cabernet. Oh, yeah, no, he's a decent sign. I've known him. I know he's a good player. Good player. No, really good player.
This is why you don't lie, people. Just say you don't know. Just be like, I don't know.
Really good player. And the geezer's like, oh, I don't really know much about him. And he must just sent him a little private chat and said, just go with it. And he went, oh, Amity Cabernet. Yeah, no, decent player. Could score a goal. Raw talent.
Chilean international. Don't want to go to America this year. He was on the bench, come on a couple of times, but from what I saw, pacey winger. Oh my god, that's horrific, lads.
One for the future.
People have told me that Spurs had a good window. I mean, Tio Werner's on loan again, by the way. It's not a permanent deal. That's another loan again. I like Archie Gray, 40 mil. I think that's the right price because that's what you've got to pay for youth talent. Like, honestly, I mean, I said this last year about the fella Brentford bought though, who didn't do anything. I think his name there in the middle. Oh, my brain. Anyway, they bought a young player from the Championship who just barely played that much and got injured. So I'm hoping that we see a lot from him. And Dominic Solanke said, I mean, before someone corrects me, it's 65 mil, but totaling 72, I think it might be in the end, or something like that. I just think it's too much for him. I know that strikers are at a premium. Has he scored yet for him? I haven't watched much Spurs. Has he played?
He hasn't. I don't think he has.
So has he played the 3 games? Has he been there?
Yeah, I think he's played 3 games.
Yeah, there you go. Like, I've got a bad feeling for Spurs with that signing. I've got a feeling that you might see. He's had one season where he bagged loads of goals, in my opinion. So it's going to be interesting. I could be very wrong. I've been wrong many times before, but I think that could be. I've got a feeling that could be a bit more Andy Carroll to Liverpool than what they're hoping for. Yeah, than what they're hoping for. I really do. So,
that's a big shout. Big shout. So what? Yeah. I've heard this Lucas Bergville's meant to be good, but again, that's one of those players that you bring in as a sort of prospect or on the cheap, and you're hoping, but you can't hang your hat off a player from the Swiss leagues. So looking at it, it's a little bit underwhelming. And Tottenham haven't had the greatest of starts to the Premier League campaign as well. West Ham.
Sorry, just quickly. Alex Scott was the kid I was talking about at Bournemouth. Who they brought up from Bristol City, who I thought was going to rip up last year.
Yes.
Never really said it right.
Yeah. So it's a big step though, because Bristol City to the Premier League, big step.
Yeah, but Archie Gray's the same, man. Leads to the Premier, like, you know what I mean. So 18 as well. So it's the only thing I'd worry about. But he's got all of the action. Archie Gray's one of them. Spurs fans can be excited about that and hope. You know, if I can be excited about Lenny Euro, then they can be excited because he's got all of the attributes to be a top player. Archie Gray, he really is.
Yeah, and Leeds were not happy about losing him as well. On to West Ham, Max Kilman. He's done well from coming. He was playing futsal before he was at Wolves. He's England. He's a England futsal player, and he's playing in the Premier League. He's got his move to West Ham. And I think he's probably one of those players who's kind of on the cusp for a cap for England as well. Who else have got? Somerville from Leeds. Nicholas Fulkrug. Very, very good signing. I really like the look of him. John Claire Todibo, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Carlos Soler on the last day of the Premier League, the last day of the transfer window. Another really, really good player. I think that's a really good window for West Ham. I'd be excited if I was West Ham.
Do you know what? Take my Man United off. That could be the window of the summer. It really could, actually. Somerville, always good promise about him. Kilman, massive loss for Wolves. Like that, massive loss for Wolves.
But they needed to make up some money. We get on to the next, innit?
Big loss. But yeah, scroll down for me a little bit again, sorry, because who else was I thinking of here? Who's the Argentinian that they've signed? That I've always liked. Guido Rodriguez, mate. I know he's a bit old now, like 30-ish, but like great signing. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, 15 mil, great signing. So yeah, Spurs, West Ham have got a lot to be happy with. To Debo, a lot of chat about him being decent. Leeds really sold this year, didn't they? They've lost a lot of their team.
Again, if you're looking at Leeds, they went down from the Premier League. They didn't come back up, and they've got to get players off their books, didn't they?
Yeah, no, fair play, because that's Somerville. I mean, we'll see how he transitions, but again, another champ one that if you can get him from Leeds when you're in the Championship or in the lower Premier League, like that's a good player for you. And Nicholas Fulkrug, listen, he'll probably score 8 goals, but it's not that. Like, it's not just that what he brings. He's a perfect West Ham player. He is, a perfect West Ham.
Taking it back to the old school of West Ham, I think they're really going to appreciate him. I think if he can score some goals and some important goals, more importantly, it could be one of them cult heroes. He's got you saw him when he came in against Germany, and he's just an old school type striker. Bully, strong, knows where the goal is, and shoots on sight. So he's one that I was really impressed that West Ham were able to bring in as well. And Wolverhampton Wanderers, for me, probably one of the worst transfer windows of the summer.
Worst, definitely. Yeah, definitely one of the worst.
When you lose the likes of Pedro Neto, Killerman, and then you've got in Jorgens, Strand Larsen, Andre from Fluminense, Sam Johnson, Tommy Doyle.
Tommy Doyle. God, that's such an old school. Where is he from? 1974. That's such an old school footballer's name.
Tommy Doyle's actually a player that Man City had that Wayne Rooney pointed him out a few years ago as one of the players to watch. And he's a very good technical player. But he's one of them ones where I don't know. It could go either way with him. It could go either way. He could just be an average player in the Premier League, or he could be a good player in the Championship. I don't see him being anything more than that, though.
Yeah, Andre though could be a very good signing for him. I like Andre. That was one of the defensive midfielders that when Man United were looking at Sander Berg as like a backup player, I thought that could be a reasonable one. At 23 years old, already played like 200 games or something in Brazil. Let me just quickly look at that. 190 games for Fluminense in Brazil already at 23. Yeah, like he don't score, he don't assist, but like he's going to get the ball off you, sort of player. So decent DM.
All right, and that is it. So who have you said has been the best so far?
I'm going to say West Ham, actually, over Man United. I would have said Man United, West Ham. And then after that, you're probably talking more in you know what? You're then into everyone. Arsenal have had a good one there. Chelsea, if it all comes together, they've had a good one there themselves. The worst ones definitely feel for Liverpool fans. Wolves, horrific. Leicester, horrific. And
most surprising?
What, signing or actual win or window?
Most surprising window.
Probably West Ham. Like, just how well they've done with it. You know what I mean? Again, like, just how well done. Most surprising signing for me on the plus is Lenny Euro for Man United, because if we're talking about surprise, I didn't see it coming. Sterling and Sancho are both up there as well. Like, as surprising signings I didn't see coming. And I think worst signing. I'm going to hang my hat on it now. You can clip it. Worst signing of the summer, Dominic Solanke.
Oh, okay. Big shout.
Price.
Yeah, with the price and everything included.
Yeah.
Dominic
that's
Solanke.
what I'm at. Well, you got to know it now. So, best and worst signing of the season. You don't just have me out here hanging on a limb.
Best signing of the summer. Best. Who do we see in there? Best.
You're thinking West Ham. You're thinking Man United.
I think most surprising. I'd say Nicholas Fulkrug.
That's a good shout.
That's really did surprise me.
Yeah, good shout.
But do you know what? I think the best window. I'm going to go Man United. We're not talking about
close between United and West Ham.
I'm going to go with Man United. And like, as you said, West Ham. Worst Newcastle. Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle. Newcastle. Yeah.
That's the team that they are. Newcastle, but also I like what Ipswich have done. I really like what Southampton have done. Because as I said, Ipswich have bought for a team that could potentially stay in the Premier League, but if they do go down, that's a team that's coming straight back up because they've got some really good players in there.
Ipswich and Southampton as well. Shout out, like I said, Calvin Phillips and Aaron Ramsdale. Both could be players that keep their respective teams in the league.
Actually, take that back about full quick. Calvin Phillips is a surprise one for me for Ipswich.
Yeah,
totally threw me. Really, really good signing. Next up, quickly, we're going to touch on this one. A lot of people have been calling out Ivan Toney for selling out. Did Ivan Toney sell out? Did he have many options? Is it a fair shout to say that he's ruined his career? If you look at some of the tweets that came out about Ivan Toney joining the Saudi Pro League, it's ranges from absolute sellout, people making jokes about his betting. You've got people that said Saudi paid heavily for someone who covered his tattoo. Not even that one, it's the wrong one. Ivan Toney, Osimhen is stuck. This is people talking about Osimhen because he was meant to be going. People taking the mick out of Ivan Toney about betting money. Ivan Toney, all he talks about is wanting to represent England. Now he's going to Saudi. Money talks. A lot of people digging Toney out about moving to Saudi Arabia, Garth. Do you think it's a fair shout? Do you think he's ruined his England prospects by going to Saudi Arabia? What was your thoughts on the Ivan Toney moving to Ali Ali?
I couldn't disagree more with all of those statements. Even the England one, because we don't have a plethora of strikers. So if he goes out there and bags 40 goals a season, goal scoring is an art form, but it's also a consistent thing. Like if you're scoring all the time, like it sticks with you. Listen, we were talking about a player that was at Peterborough United 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So he's not like he's like, I know a couple of people like, oh, he ain't short of a few bob. No, he's not in the general scheme of things. But he was on like 30 grand a week at Brentford before bonuses. He's now on 408 grand a week. We're talking about generational wealth. Yeah, money talks, and it talks to you too. And I don't want to hear it. He's sold out. Listen, I don't care. 28, 29, no other clubs trying to buy him. Why wouldn't he go? He's got his club 40 mil, and he's going to bag goals out there. Yeah, of course it's for the money. Of course it's for the money. Where else are you going? But then again, like, what do you want from him? It's a job at the end of the day. And if someone offers you whatever that is, 1,000% increase or like 10,000% increase on your wage or whatever, of course you're taking it. Yeah, fair play to him. Grab that bag, son. 28 years old, do 2 years, 3 years out there, come back, and like Brentford will take you again at 31, 32, as if they wouldn't. So yeah, I don't care. I think it's a great move for him. I think it's a great move for Brentford because they're going to lose him at 3 on the end of the season. I don't think it affects his England chances that much personally, apart from England have this weird thing where they don't play players from different, like who play in different countries. I mean, what more do you want from him? Like, what do you want to do? Just stay at Brentford because, like, there's too much put into this. Like, players should be loyal. Clubs aren't loyal to players. Look at what Chelsea are doing. You know, like, I've got no time for that argument. Even, like, if it's a kid you've brought up through the ranks, there's a little bit more to it. But even then, like, look at Emil Smith-Rowe at Arsenal. Of course, he didn't want to leave. You know what I mean? But Arsenal don't need him anymore, and they need that 35 mil. They're commodities to the clubs at the end of the day. So, yeah, sell out. Yeah, he sold out, and he sold out good. That man's going to be living his best life. Like, once he retires, you know what I mean? What is it, 58 mil he's making?
Yeah.
Basic. Before we talk about he'll have endorsement rights over there, yeah, sorry. But the only thing maybe is England career, man. Maybe. But like I said, we haven't got a plethora of strikers. We really don't.
Yeah.
So
one of the things I saw which kind of I didn't like was people one person said he's 1-0, so he had an opportunity to move to a club where he could have won something. Who was after him?
Yeah.
You tell me who put him a realistic bid for Ivan Toney. Because I bet if Chelsea, if Tottenham, if these clubs would have gone in for him, Ivan Toney would have probably stayed in the Premier League. But no one was after him. No one was after him. You're talking about a player who started his career at Northampton. Northampton.
Was that where it started?
In League Two. He got picked up by Newcastle. And from Newcastle, obviously as a prospect, picking up from Newcastle, from Northampton to Newcastle, he's loaned out from pillar to post over the next few seasons to gain experience. But along that way, he's probably thinking, I ain't getting an opportunity at Newcastle. And this was a time when Newcastle were in the Championship as well.
Yeah.
And then he eventually found home at Peterborough, like you said, in League One. When he was at Peterborough in League One, do you ever think that he thought that he'd be playing in the Premier League and be regarded as one of the best strikers in the Premier League? Do you ever think that at that time when he was at Peterborough that he'd be representing England in a major tournament? No, he didn't. So people equate success as winning trophies. But when you're a kid at Northampton Town, success is representing your country. Success is playing in the Premier League and playing over 100 games in the Premier League. Like, that's success for me. Stop looking at trophies as every player saying it's success. You think every player that made a professional career out of doing something they love, turns around and looks back and goes, I'm sad I didn't win any trophies. No way. So when you get to this point in your career, the last contract, because when you're 28, 29, it's your last chance for a big contract.
Big one, yeah.
A big
100%.
one. And no one's after you. Take that money. Take that
and
money, Ivan Toney.
I'll just throw it out as well. And some people might scoff at this, but he's actually won 2 playoff finals, a Football League trophy, and won League One with Wigan. So he's lifted a trophy 3 times at Wembley.
There we go.
Like, yeah, they're not big trophies. I get
Mate,
before
some players never play at Wembley.
They don't even get to exactly my point. So he's got, like, yeah, I know it's not an FA Cup, it's not this, but he's had 3 games at Wembley, won them all. And yeah, it was on loan at clubs and this and that, you know what I mean? But the man's got 4 winners' medals in his bag. He's got a runners-up medal with the European Championship. He's got golden boots. He's like, no, at 28, like Aaron, you said it's the truth, man. And I'm sorry if anyone's begrudging him. It just reeks of jealousy to me. It really does. Like, yeah, listen, I don't like Saudi Arabia either. Like, you talk about human rights and all of that stuff, but mate, they're coming and they're staying. Like, we've got to get. This is the new norm. You know what I mean? And if it's good enough for Ronaldo, it's good enough for Ivan Toney. I don't mean that as disrespectfully as it sounds.
Yeah.
But,
good enough for Neymar. It's good enough for Ivan Toney.
Yeah, get that bag, son. Get that bag. The money you're talking about is generational wealth, man. Yeah. That's his family set up. That's his extended family if he wants to be set up. That's all his boys back in Peterborough set up. Like in Northampton, like it's silly to even.
And as I said earlier, if there's any clubs in Saudi Arabia that are looking for a third goalkeeper, I'm great in the nets for warming up my goalkeepers. I'm great around the dressing room, mate. I'm a banter all the way. I'm a good laugh. I hype up the young players. I'm good. I'm good with the young players. I'm your man. Just drop me a DM in the Transfer Exchange Show Twitter, and I'll be there, mate. I'll even pay for my flight. Do you know what I mean? I'm there.
And if you need a kit man, I'll come with. You know what I'm saying? Like so you better kit man good as well.
Reach out to my agent, Garth Lewis.
I've never done it before. It's just a washing machine. It can't be that hard. You know what I'm saying? Iron a few numbers on. Like, I'm your man, bro.
Got this bread of ironing kits, mate. Curtains.
He's on $4.5 million a year.
A player who did turn down Saudi Arabia was Victor Osimhen, and he's on his way to Galatasaray on a season-long loan.
Great signing.
Great signing for Galatasaray. Honestly, if I was Galatasaray, I would be absolutely buzzing. But he had no choice. Poor guy had no choice. But look, we're talking about a guy who helped Napoli win their first Scudetto in it since Maradona.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
since Maradona. And they reaped praise on Kirilashvili. It's Kirilashvili, yeah? Or is it? I can't even.
The goalkeeper.
No, not Kirilashvili.
The winger. There's not go there with that. Yeah, there's Jaunters, man. Just give us nicknames. Be Brazilian about this. Give us nicknames.
And the following season, they're mocking him on their Twitter page, and they think that's okay.
That coconut thing was outrageous. I know it's rampant in Italy. It's rampant everywhere, but that is like. Your own club, man. Like in reality, like he had every right to take them to court, lawsuit. Yeah. Like this is
this is part of it.
Untenable workplace. Yeah, this is an untenable workplace. Like this is I'm dealing with outright racism through Twitter from their official accounts. Like obviously you don't, but you know what I'm saying. Like, and look at his stats as well, man. 35 games for Nigeria, 21 goals. Career stats of 223 games, 114 goals, including what's that for Napoli there? Or what's that? 133 games, 76 goals for Napoli. That's just crazy stats. Like, come on. And you're treating him like that. You're outrageous, people. You're outrageous.
Yeah, you deserve to lose him for next to nothing next season when everyone's going to be after him.
Is he next year?
I think he potentially is, unless he signed an extension just to get him some money. But I don't see him doing any favours.
Yeah, this will be his 4th year at Napoli, so next year will be his fifth. Like, it's a year. Like, could be a freebie knocking about.
Yeah. Or if anything, it's a year. It's a year left on his contract. So
40 mil.
Yeah. Nice. And they deserve everything they get because they should be sacking the person who done that. And that had to go through people to be approved as well. So if you think that's okay,
and they didn't take it down or anything, did they? That's the other thing.
No, they thought it was okay. And you know what? The way if you saw the reaction of him, when he turned up to his team, we know how this works. Yeah, that went around the WhatsApp group. He didn't get the response that he expected. He shook 2 of their hands and looked at the rest of them and walked off. They laughed at him. The team members in that team would definitely laugh at that and thought it was funny because he wanted out. He wanted out. Yeah. So look, treat your players like that, and that's what you get. That's a note to any players of colour that move to Italy. Take note. Now for the dreaded moment for Garth. We're going to be talking about it. Not too long because we could do the whole episode on this. But how long? I love the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's there as well. How long does Erik ten Hag last at Manchester United? Man United, 2 losses already this season. Losing to Brighton in the last minute João Pedro goal, but 3-0 loss at home to Liverpool yesterday. And Erik ten Hag coming out with all sorts. Let's take a quick look at what he said. God, not Effie. Let's take a quick look.
He's really annoyed me with his sorry. So I'm almost starting to swear. It's the language we're live.
Trophies in English football, so I'm sorry for you.
I appreciate what you say about players and players needing time to bed in. That's undisputably true. The mistakes that your team made today are mistakes that they've been making for 2 years. And
exactly.
What makes you confident that it's players that are the problem and not your coaching?
So what do you mean? Tell me then. Explain me. Maybe you can explain me which mistakes we make regular.
Well, constantly playing the ball over your own half, playing the ball out from the back, getting mugged, chances coming on the back of it, counter attacks when you're outnumbered, giving up endless chances in your own stadium against the team's biggest rivals. The greatest respect, I've been seeing that for so long now.
You are sure?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think otherwise you wouldn't win trophies as we did and to beat big opponents. So I'm sorry for you. I have another vision.
You wouldn't with the greatest respect, played brilliantly against City in that final. You almost lost to Cambridge in the semi-final. I mean, come on, let's have a realistic view of what happened there.
I think we won after City the most trophies in English football. So I'm sorry for you.
It's almost. I saw it there, and there's an air of arrogance where it's just
so arrogant,
blinding. It's blinding him. It's not good enough for a club of Man United's stature. They've given him time to bed in. They've given him the players that he wants. They've brought a really, really good, encouraging transfer window this season. The pre-season didn't look great, but we can only take so much from that. But the start of the Premier League, it's just not looking good. And when you hear a response like that, and he's talking about trophies, and the journalist is absolutely right. You almost lost to Cambridge in the previous round. Yeah, it was great.
It was Coventry.
Coventry.
He said Cambridge. He did say Cambridge, but it was Coventry.
It was Coventry.
But the point stands. Sorry, I just went before someone says it. Look, bro, I'm fuming, man. Let's talk about the signings first of all. We'll get into the performances in a minute. 616 million since Ten Hag turned up here. These are the signings. Anthony, success or failure? Let me just ask you: success or failure?
Failure.
100% failure. Rasmus Højlund, 72 mil. Success.
It's too much. It's too much. Rasmus Højlund's actually. I wouldn't say it's so much as far as prove me wrong, but I think he deserves more of a chance and he deserves respect for what he's looking like he's doing. But 70 million is outrageous. That's a 40 million pound player.
Yeah, and he's not a success yet. Casemiro, 1 season success. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 1 season for the amount that you're paying him, you can't say it's a success.
70 mil for Casemiro. Remember that? 70 mil.
No.
Yeah. Mason Mount, 60. Well, this is with the add-ons as well, to be fair. I've just realised that. But still,
Mason Mount, he's been injured, but it's not a success.
Not a success. Euro, we don't know yet. Martinez, I think it's the 1 success, but even he obviously injured all of last year pretty much, right? But that's the one that you can point to. Ugarte, we don't know yet. Onana, nearly 50 mil.
It's he's not a success. He's not a success.
He's not. And then the rest of the Ski, Mazraoui, obviously we just signed him. Malacia, 15 mil.
Injured.
Is that man witness protection? Did he witness a gang murder? Is that what's happened? Is he have they got a massive against the mafia or something? It's like, we need him. Sorry, in 2 years he ain't going to be about. And then Christian Eriksen, which was a freebie, which you can probably call a set of assaults.
Because it's
outrageous. Yeah, outrageous. Doesn't know what he's doing in the transfer market. Let's move on to the tactics. Exactly what that geezer said there, the report. This is what I was saying, is the argument I'm having with Nathan in the group at the moment. It's It's the same shit I've seen for 2 years now. I said at the end of last season, listen, you can't sack the manager because he won the FA Cup. I don't want to see that. He has had injuries all year, so we've got to give him his due there. But I'm going to give it 10 games. He's had 3. I'm done. I'm done, mate. I'm done with it. It's the same. It's the same mistakes. It's the same tactics. It's the same shit substitution decisions. The same nonsense tactics decisions. You can't keep blaming the players. And mate, you're arguing with reporters like Twitter people do. Us fans get to say to you boys, Arsenal fans, well, we've won 2 trophies, so no matter we finish in the league, we get to say that. The gaffer don't get to say that. Because our league form has been atrocious. And like Liverpool said, we scraped through against Coventry City. We scraped through against Liverpool with a last-minute winner after being 3-2 down in extra time. Bottom line, if Man City had 10 more minutes, they would have equalised. It's outrageous. He doesn't know. He's got no man management. You know what I mean? Like, I agreed with getting rid of Ronaldo, even though I didn't want him to go because of
it's how it's done, though.
It's how it's done. I agreed with what he did with Sancho, but again, not the way it's done. Like he's got no man management. He's got no. I mean, I'm using the word aura, not as TikTok uses it now. I mean, no aura. Nothing that's going to inspire the players. Nothing that's going to puts me to sleep when he's talking. He's an absolute. Honestly, I don't know where he's got this big head from. Like, it's so bad, man. I don't know. You said you watched the highlights, obviously. That Liverpool performance was a capitulation. It was abysmal. It was, and it's the same goals.
Just on the first goal. Just on the first goal, yeah. Not long before you concede your first goal, the same thing happened on the goal that's disallowed. And it's like, how's that happened? You just give him another take. Take 2. There we go. Scored now.
And it was the same goal we conceded against Brighton. It's exactly the same goal we conceded against Brighton the week before. Exactly the same. No one at the back. It's his tactics, man. They're awful. Like, people keep saying to me, and they know who they are because they're probably watching. Oh yeah, but we've got no legs in the middle. Casemiro did, blah. Then why aren't you changing the tactics? We've known for a year and a half Casemiro ain't got legs.
Play to his strengths. Play to Casemiro.
You're talking about one of the best players in the world of all time, like literally in his prime. Yes, he's on the downward spiral, but you tell him you can't. You tell me Thomas Tuchel wouldn't get something out of him. That Nagelsmann wouldn't get something out of him. That Pochettino wouldn't. That Arteta wouldn't get something out of him. That Klopp, that Pep wouldn't get something out of Casemiro. Because if you're saying that, you're chatting nonsense, mate. Of course they would. It's this gaffer with his tactics. They're bloody awful. And I'm done with it, man. Like I've seen it so much now. It's the same performances. It's the same results. It's the same tactics that don't work. And he changes nothing. He's got no plan B. You know. And this is the thing. Like, I'm now rambling because, to put it succinctly, he ain't up to the fucking job. Like, he just ain't. So, and I gave him the benefit of the doubt last year because he has won 2 trophies in 2 years. But that league form last year, and even the year before, we finished 3rd. But at the end of the season, if I remember correctly, we had some pretty bad results at the end of his first season. So, yeah, done with the man. I don't think there's any way back for him. Another thing, name one player he's improved while he's been there.
It's a good shout, especially a man coming from Ajax, which is all about
that. Dalot, maybe, but Dalot was always on the up. Like, he was always on the up, Dalot.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't. Every player he's bought has been worse than what they were before they turned up, apart from Martinez, who was as good as he turned up. Yeah. There's no redeeming quality anymore, Ten Hag, and he's sitting there acting, be a bit humble, man. Be a bit humble. Like, you just got slapped 3-0 by Liverpool at Old Trafford, bruv.
You're talking about
half the stadium's empty. Yeah, half the stadium's empty. 60 minutes in, you're talking about an FA Cup win and a League Cup win. That's what I say. Like, we get to say that, Keir. You know what I mean? Like, to hold our own in an argument against all the clubs that are doing so much better than us. We get to be like, only Man City have won more trophies than us, and it's a muggy statement. It's a muggy statement when I say it, but it's one of them where it's like, what you're saying because you ain't won shit, bro. Like, we ain't won. Saying it, arguing with like, it's ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous. So yeah, there's my rant. Feel better now, bro. Thanks for that.
And we're already seeing headlines, sack looms. Look, one thing that you've seen with Sir Jim Ratcliffe is he seems like a smart man. He seems like he knows the direction of the club that he wants to take him in. We know that Man United were looking for a replacement manager in the summer. We know that everyone knows that now. We're starting to hear about some of the deals that were being offered and why they didn't want to come in. The Tuchels, the Zerbis. Who out there now do you look that you bring in now that can save this
honestly club? Like, and I'm not joking now. This sounds facetious. Anyone. I'd take Southgate. Like, I swear to you, anyone could do a better job than this man. Yeah, anyone could do a better job than this man. Listen, bottom line is Potter won't play the like maybe not Potter, maybe not Potter. But if we like Tuchel, obviously, is the man I wanted last year. Tuchel, Poch, Nagelsmann, the best three that are out there, obviously. And if not them, I'd take Southgate over him. I really would. And Southgate would get more out of this team. 100% Southgate would get more out of this team. Yeah, it'd be awful football. It would be defensive. It would be safe. But we ain't getting slapped 3-0 by Liverpool. You know what I mean? We ain't getting beaten around the park by even the Fulham game, which we won, was so lucky, and they're so distinctly average, Fulham. So yeah, I honestly I know it's not a real answer to your question, mate, but I mean it. Anyone that's available that's half decent, anyone. Yeah. Nagelsmann, I'm not sure. I know a lot of people like the idea of Nagelsmann, but it's like I don't know. Tuchel for me would be the number one choice. Then Poch, and then
I think now that the transfer window's closed, I think they'd be smart to start having a word with Tuchel and saying, "Look, I know you wanted full control of transfers, but maybe we have a compromise. Maybe we seriously sit down. Maybe if you've got a director of football in there that you work with each other. I think that's how it's got to be. I think Tuchel needs to understand a little bit like you can't take the risks too much of these managers having full control, because what happens is once they leave, you've got a team of you've got to change the complete team again. You need someone there where there's director of football when they're working together. They've got to have a good relationship, and they're bringing in players that suits. Look, I think if you have a conversation with the likes of Tuchel, you can work that out. I think Tuchel was probably looking at it more as a Man United need some serious open heart surgery, as what's his name said previously, and he probably wants to go in there and really take charge of it. Now, when you look at the players that they've brought in, you're probably looking at it thinking, do you know what? They've actually got some direction here. Yeah. So I think they should be sort of doing everything they can to get Tuchel in. It was surprising when Chelsea got rid of him. So yeah, I'd be going full steam ahead for him.
Yeah, or do the dirty on Liverpool and go and get Xavi Alonso. just to make me laugh. Just to make me laugh. But no, Tuchel number one for me. Listen, I'll leave this with all Man United fans. Ask yourself this question: do you think Thomas Tuchel could get more out of this team? Because my answer is yes, and that's all I want to say.
Yeah, he definitely could. All right, very good pod there, Garth. Very good chat. Get yourself in the comment section as well. Let us know what your thoughts were on who had the best, worst, and most surprising transfer window. Did Ivan Toney sell out? And who should Man United get of their next manager? And how long has Erik ten Hag got? I want to hear from Man United fans in the comment section. Let me know how long you think Ten Hag has got with this club, because it's not looking good, and I don't see things getting better anytime soon. Thanks for joining us tonight, Garth.
A pleasure as always. Thanks for having me, mate.
All right. And thank you for everyone else who's been watching tonight. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.